Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about Instagram. I get this one quite a bit from people that are looking to start a Instagram channel and maybe in some capacity try to brand themselves. With that, I'm going to tell you guys too about all of the equipment that I use to film myself with all of this, because it has graduated over the years and at times was pretty comical. So let's get started. So starting off with what I used to film my Instagram with, it was April of 2015, and I was going through my yoga teacher training, and I was using my iPhone 4. I don't even think it was a 4S. I think it was just an iPhone 4. And back then I used to tape my phone to the wall that's behind me because I practice on the opposite wall. So I would tape it up onto that little divider between the windows with none other than the very coveted painter's tape. It's pretty hard to find. Like only the most fancy people on the planet use this stuff, so you have to be, you know, kind of a big balla to get your Lowe's. Just go to a hardware store or the grocery store, you'll find it. So I used to tape my phone, and back when I used to take my photos, I used to take it so that I could see myself because I wanted to make sure it was centered. And then I got a clue and learned that you have to go this way with it because this is the good camera on this side. I've since, from the 4, I moved up to the 6 Plus, and now I'm taking with a 7 Plus. I take all of my photos and videos there, as in on my phone. That's where I take my photos. And I do all of my editing, and I add music and all of that on my phone as well. Christmas of that year, 2015, it started, I mean, with the winter coming, it was super dark. And so my husband, this room, I mean, other than the fact that I do have the natural light coming in, I always tell people be super mindful of where your light source is when you are taking your photographs, because your camera or your phone has to work a lot less hard if you have good natural light. Because I have this big window here, it aims all of its light down on me. I find it's even better in the morning because it's an eastern exposure. And if it's not directly on your mat that's laying parallel to the mat with the window, kick it sideways so that you at least get light on one side of your body, and it kind of adds those cool shadows and everything into it. So that was the first step. Once I started getting the lights, I got the lights for Christmas for my husband. I got a tripod and a tripod adapter that would hold my phone. So the lights that I use, I'll put an insert in here. These are called Softbox by Limo Studio, and they are big giant squares that have like a muslin or a little filter on the front of them to kind of create a softer light that is in the studio. This is my dining room, guys, let's be honest. So I put one light here, and I shoot it in. Sometimes I'll put one from the side. It just really depends kind of the look that I'm going for. So I have 2 of those. The other piece that he got me was, this is by Me Photo. And this is let's see if I can show it to you. This is a little phone adapter that when you set it up can hold your phone in either direction. So you can go horizontally or vertically within this. And then you just add the little cleat, foot. I don't know what this is called. I'm sure it has a name that goes right onto my tripod. The tripod that I own is a Sunpak 6601UT. 6601 UT, totally cheapo, probably 20 bucks on Amazon. So I'll put the link for all of these pieces that I use down below. And back in the day when I when I was graduating up to that 6 Plus phone, I got a timer, like a little Bluetooth remote timer for my phone, because setting the 10-second timer on my phone and then running across and trying to get into an arm balance or an inversion of some sort is insane. So I bought this little guy. It's a remote shutter, and I got it's a him from Amazon, and it is called the Camkix Bluetooth remote. It was $7, and if you scroll way back into my photos on my Instagram account, you will see that it's sometimes in my mouth, and I would hold it and then click it with my mouth, or I'd hold it in my hand, or I'd use it under my toes and stuff. And sometimes I tried to like edit those out so that you wouldn't see it and it wouldn't be so obvious. Other times there's no denying that it was there. So yeah, you can go on like a little Where's Waldo Hunt for those way down in my Instagram feed. So the next thing that I graduated to after realizing that clicker was just ridiculous is my girlfriend told me about an app on iPhones. I have no idea if it's compatible with Androids or not, but it's called Camera Awesome. And so on my phone, it is an app that I got from the App Store. Let me show you. It's this little purple guy right there. And from here, this guy has little interval timing so that you can take your photos from 1 on up to 60 seconds apart. And so for me to take one photo on Instagram, depending on the interval, it could be anywhere from 10 to 50 photos of the same thing, or me walking to my mat to get there because it's just continually taking based on what I tell it to. Way better. A lot less chance of choking in chin stand on this little remote that I once had to use. And I paid for the app. I feel like it was maybe $1 to $3, and it was worth it, and I still use it every day. Most recently, my husband got me this little adapter, and it allows me to plug in my SD card from my camera directly into my phone or into my iPad. And so I have not yet branched into filming on my DSLR and then putting it onto my phone. I just feel like it's much easier to just do it all in one place and have it all on my phone. But as of right now, when I film my YouTube videos, this is how I transfer it. So this would also make it very easy if you wanted to shoot with a big camera, plugging your SD card into your phone. So I'll put this link down below as well. As I was going through my teacher training, I started sharing little pictures and videos of my journey on Instagram, and then slowly started to find other yogis and was super inspired. And one of the first people that I ever found was Kino McGregor. I know I've talked about her before, but really she was just kind of like everything for me way back then. Still kind of is, let's be honest. So she, I always just felt like I was so crazy inspired. I really had no idea that handstands and inversions and crazy arm balances was all part of yoga. And so the more I followed her, then I started finding other people, and then the little things called challenges, yoga challenges, popped up. And it was a really great way for me to stay on my mat at home. I was taking and then teaching after my teacher training. So it was easier for me to take classes in my studio, and when you're a teacher, then you don't have to pay for classes. So really, if you don't want to pay for yoga classes, just go become a yoga teacher. Follow these yoga challenges, and I would do between 1 or 3 every single month or every 2 weeks, however they were split up. It allowed me to keep going on my mat, which was huge for me because I always felt like I wanted to learn more and challenge my body in different ways. The other thing that I remember with Instagram was the hashtag Stop Dropping Yoga, or SDY. With that one, it was awesome because it was another way to start building that community. I remember the first Stop Dropping Yoga that I ever got, and I literally thought at that time it meant stop what you're doing, which at that time I was cooking dinner, and like do a yoga pose, take a picture, and then post it. So I was like, oh my gosh, what should I do? Somebody just asked me to do a yoga picture. And so I did crow in a chair, because I thought it had to look good or different or interesting, and that's where I started. The picture's still there, guys. You can go find it. So the Stop Dropping Yogas were great too. It really started to create that community. By doing the challenges as well, it kept my Instagram feed active and posting close to 3 times a day, which is kind of something you want to do. You want to keep that interaction going, posting between 1 to 3, maybe 4 times a day. Also kind of gets good involvement within the community. At that time, I started realizing that my numbers were climbing. When I first had my Instagram account, it was like 80 followers, friends and family, and then I thought, I'm gonna start taking pictures of yoga. And sometimes it was for the challenges for sure, and other times it was just something that I thought was cool. And way back when I first started, I was just filming myself, and then I would scroll through in the film and pick maybe my deepest expression or what I thought was the prettiest angle, and then take a screenshot and post it that way. So that killed the quality very quickly. I don't do that anymore. But once I started posting all of those things, my numbers started to grow. Well, I'm sure my friends and family started to taper off, thinking I was crazy, absolutely crazy for posting pictures of me doing yoga. They just thought it was crazy. So I'm sure I got a little unfollowed by some friends and family there too. Yeah, it's a good time. So anyway, realizing that my Instagram was starting to grow with the challenges and the stop drops in yoga, I quickly learned that I liked it. I wanted to keep going with it. Maybe I could brand myself, and ultimately back then I was thinking, if this can grow, maybe at some point I can start teaching yoga retreats and traveling and just build something out of this. And so I ended up interviewing 2 friends. One of my friends was working on an Etsy shop, and so while her feed was very different than mine, I loved how she edited her photos, so I chatted with her about it. She told me about Visco, or VSCO, I'm not sure what it's called. So that's the editing platform that allows you to adjust the lighting, basically, in a nutshell. And so I use that still to this day when I edit my photos, just so that I have a kind of cohesive look on my page. Then I met with another girlfriend who had like 46 or something, 49,000 followers. And at one time she, or maybe twice, was featured by Instagram. And so that got a lot of attention, but that was many, many years ago, and she's a photographer. So again, very, very different feed, but she gave me a lot of good tips too. She was the one who said, be mindful to not take all of your pictures, or not post all of your pictures at the exact same time. Make sure that they're spread out so that when somebody opens up their phone, they don't just have a stack of all of your stuff. Break it up, different time zones. Within that, there is a formula that goes with Instagram, and you can Google it and you can look for your best time zones. Once you make, or if you ever decide to make your phone a like a business page, within that you sync it to your Facebook. And so I have no idea if you can read this, but anyway, it has a contact button within it. And once you do that, it gives you your insights, which talk to you about your impressions and the reach that you're making within it. And it breaks it down by your top posts. It talks about your followers and where that's happening around the world. So that helps you to understand when you post. Then you can Google this stuff as well, guys. Seriously, this is also where I started, because again, like I said in my last video, when I find something that I truly love, I go hard. And for me, I Googled a lot about best times to post, best days of the week to post. Hashtags are key. If you guys haven't figured it out before, hashtags are not just about irony or like the Rocks hashtags, which are probably the best hashtags on the planet. He's like one of my favorite people to follow. I just kept learning about it. I wanted to just kind of know as much as I possibly could. I know some people have purchased these apps that will kind of do the work for you and maybe write on other people's pages. In a sense, it's almost like you're paying money to an app and then it's driving up the impressions that you're making on Facebook, even though you're not technically doing it. So to me, it kind of feels like buying followers. I think a lot of those types are gone, but there are variations of those. I've never done anything like that because I didn't want to. I don't know, I couldn't wrap my head around that piece of it, but you can. If you really wanted to, you could spend your money on those kinds of things, and it would allow you to make it look like you are more actively engaged with people on Instagram. Another reason that I believe that my followers started to go up is I started hosting challenges. I was asked by 3 women to host a challenge with them back when I had about 7,000 followers. So I would say my 80 followers to 7,000, that was all done just through participating and posting for challenges. And then after that, when I was asked to be in the challenge, my numbers started to climb, just because now it's almost like you're pooling your followers when you start to host a challenge. And the first one I ever did was with Aloe. So that felt like a big deal, to get like a big reputable yoga clothing brand to be a part of that. I hope that this answered some questions for you guys about how I made this whole Instagram thing kind of work for me in my favor. If you have any more questions, let me know down below, or come find me on Instagram, Chelsea's Yoga. I love sharing this stuff. I'm an open book, so if you have questions about this sort of thing and what worked for me and what didn't, or what I'm using, please come find me. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day, and beautiful rest of your week, and I will talk with you soon. Love, love. You're really gonna get to know me on this YouTube channel. I kind of just keep talking. This is me.